Welcome into Week 15, Championship Week, Sharpening the Edge. Right there on your screen and coming through your podcast, it is Lucas Reimink. I'm Dennis Fithian. We work at the Maize and Blue Review, and we have been here each and every week picking Michigan, Michigan State, the Lions, and then having three best bets each week. And Lucas, we had the Lions last night and no Michigan, Michigan State. So we just have three best bets. You did well last week from what I gather.
3-2, so +1, take that. Brought me to +8 on the regular season. Nothing to complain about there. Pretty happy with that. I think it might be my best regular season I've had on the show, actually. So quite pleased with that. +8. Hopefully we'll keep it going. Championship weekend here, kind of starting. It's a little bit different just because these 12 weeks into the season, you kind of get a feel for how good teams are by the end of the year. But then you start getting injuries, and like have Georgia, Texas. They're playing each other for the second time. It's just a lot of different things to think about as you head into championship weekend, and the bowl season is like a whole different thing as well because you have opt-outs and transfers. So this is where it gets really hard to be good at picking spreads and winners and losers. So you got to do a lot of research and really dig into the picks. But yeah, +8, the regular season, really happy with that. Hopefully they'll keep it going.
Well, it was just last week or a couple weeks ago, I was sitting there at +7, but I have gone the other direction and I'm barely above water, +2 for the season. So I want to wrap things up. We will pick all the bowls like we have the last couple of years. We'll cut it up into 2 different shows, but I have to at least stay above water, and I want to stay definitely above 500. And so I haven't gone the whole year for nothing. So today I consider this a big show for myself because I am just sitting there at +2 and we are picking 3 games. So I already know what you're selecting. That usually doesn't happen. It's not a good sign for me, but we're going to let you kick things off with your best bet number 1 for championship week.
First one, I'm going to go to the ACC. Clemson taking on SMU. I'm going to take the Tigers plus the 2.5. SMU, in my opinion, just really hasn't played anybody that's of a higher caliber opponent. They dodged both Clemson and Miami in the regular season, which to me are the 2 best teams in the ACC. Matchup-wise, I'm also just not sure SMU has faced a front 7 as good as Clemson's. On the other side, I do think Clemson could have success running the football with Phil Maffa, which is pretty much the key to their entire offense because Cade Klubnik is good. He had a good year, but he's not good enough to carry an offense all by himself when they don't have the running game to help him out. And you might not actually know it if you don't pay attention a lot, but Clemson is actually 8th nationally in total offense. They just struggle with turnovers a lot in the bigger games. SMU's defense isn't great at forcing turnovers, so that's kind of why I'm siding with Clemson here. And then as you're getting into the week, if you pay attention to a lot of interviews, if you watch social media and stuff, Rhett Lashley was out there this week, and somebody asked him the question, something along the lines of, right now, as things stand, you're in the playoffs. Do you think you should be still in with a loss? And his answer was not a good one, in my opinion, at least if I'm handicapping it, looking at his answer, how he feels about the game. It was very similar to what Lane Kiffin said a few weeks ago, that playing in the championship can actually be a bad thing, can be a detriment to the team because it might impact your chances to make the playoff. He's not wrong. I'm not disagreeing with his stance. I just think it's bad for a coach to be out there in the media saying that because it has to play some sort of psychological effect with the team as well. And we all know what happened to Lane Kiffin's squad the week after he said that. They got upset in the swamp in Gainesville. So that's just another kind of psychological reason why I don't like SMU here. Tigers have championship pedigree. They've done it before here with Dabo. I think they get back to the playoffs by winning this game. My power ratings, I actually have this as a 1-point Clemson win. So I'll take Clemson here by a score of 34-31.
34-31. You're giving us a little bonus action with the actual pick of the game. I'm going to the American Athletic Championship. That is a game that is going to be played tonight. There's 2 games that are going to be played tonight. Boise's hosting UNLV. That's a rematch, and Boise's favored by 5. That's what they won by earlier in the season. Now, I look at Tulane. I think a lot of Michigan fans will be watching this game because Craddock's their offensive coordinator, and he has been linked to the Michigan opening in Ann Arbor. Meanwhile, talking this one through, you look at what Tulane has done this year. They played Navy and they shut them out and beat them 35-0. So they can handle that running game. And that's the thing that jumped out to me. And that's why I am taking Tulane in this first game, and I am laying the 5 points. So give me Tulane. What are they? The Green Wave? Is that what they are?
Yep, Green Wave.
I thought so, and I was going to say, give me the Green Wave, which I've never said before. It sounded weird, but yeah, give me the Green Wave over Army for my best bet number 1. We head back to you for best bet number 2.
My second one, I'm going to go to the SEC here. In my opinion, the game I'm most excited for this weekend, Texas taking on Georgia. Texas favored by 2.5. I'm going to take the Longhorns here. This is the rematch. Obviously, they played a few weeks ago in the regular season. Georgia won that one pretty handily, even though it was in Austin, Texas. I just think Texas is a better team here. They get a chance to have a little bit of revenge, playing a team for the second time. Usually you don't see it go the same way twice. Obviously, there are exceptions. Washington beat Oregon, for example, last year twice. I just think Texas is the better team here, so I'm going to take them to win the second round here. Texas' defense is what's really impressed me lately, 3rd nationally in total defense, despite playing a really tough schedule there in the SEC. I really like the matchup of Steve Sarkisian having a chance to attack this Georgia defense for the second time this year. I think he's going to steam up some good stuff in this one. Probably get Arch Manning a little bit involved on the ground game as well. I think Texas is going to try and run the ball more than they did the first time they played earlier this year in Austin. The turnovers by Quinn Ewers kind of forced them into a pass-happy attack, and I just don't think that's how their offense runs the best. I think when their offense is at its best, they run the ball efficiently, and they get the play action, the crossers, stuff like that, all based off the run game. And Georgia at its best, we've seen them. They can be the best team in the country, absolutely. They've also really only played like 2 good games out of the 12 where they've been at their best so far this year. So I just don't like the consistency there for Georgia. I think Texas wins this. I have this at 27-23. So give me the Longhorns minus the 2.5 there.
Yeah, well, we can stay right here on this game. And this is what I don't like is that I'm going on the other side of this one, and that hasn't worked out for me well this year. It also hasn't worked out well for me when I've picked Georgia. It has once or twice, but I think it's gone against me more than it's helped me this year. But I watched that first game. Georgia is like a more physical team in that game. And the thing that the reason I like the Bulldogs in this one is that game was at Texas, and Georgia was able to go on there and punch them in the mouth. This one's at the Mercedes-Benz Dome in Atlanta, right in the middle of Georgia. This is going to be a big dog crowd. There'll be some Horn fans there, but this is going to be a home game for Georgia. And I'm getting points. That's why I'm going to take the dogs in this one and go against you for best bet number 2. So we'll go head-to-head in this one. We'll take it right back to you as we go to your best bet number 3.
I'll finish off in the Big Ten. Oregon minus 3.5 taking on Penn State. I'm going to side with the Ducks here. Oregon, for my money, is just the most complete team in the country. They have the best combination of offense and defense, and they've also played a tough schedule, so they're kind of battle-tested as well. Penn State played Ohio State, but they haven't played a couple of the other top-tier Big Ten teams. And obviously, if you watch the Ohio State game, they lost that one 20-13 at home. At home, despite scoring 7 off of pick 6, so their offense mustered only 6 points at home against a good Ohio State defense. Oregon has kind of a similar caliber of defense, maybe not quite as good, but I just have a lot of questions still about this Nittany Lion offense. I just think Penn State's defense really legit, just not huge on Penn State's offense. If you look at Penn State's defense, in my opinion, the weakness is the 2 corners on the outside. There are 2 transfer corners. And you kind of look at the other side, Oregon, what are they good at? Well, wouldn't you know it, they have 2 really good wide receivers, Tev Johnson, Evan Stewart. They're Dylan Gabriel, obviously a good experienced quarterback, can get them the football. They have a really good offensive scheme. They're smart. I think they're going to be very well motivated here, given that it's their first season in the Big Ten. Obviously, they haven't won the Big Ten title. I think they want to go into this one and make a statement. So I have them winning this one, kind of cruising to a 27-17 win.
I can see that. I was looking at that one myself. I have a hard time with that one because I don't like Penn State, and so I always feel like I'm getting a little emotional when picking against them. So I stayed away The good news for me is that I agreed with you on one of your plays, and that is Clemson. I looked at how both teams really, you mentioned SMU really didn't beat anybody. Either than Clemson in their big games, they lost all of them. But in this one, you mentioned Clemson's offense. And then also you take a look at Clemson's getting 2.5 points. To me, I thought Clemson should have been the favorite looking at this one when you looked at all of the different numbers. So, that's a pretty big swing when I'm thinking 3-point favorite and I see plus 2.5. That's why I'll take the Tigers, and I agree with you. I like Clemson, and I went against you when I'm taking a look at your picks because I like Georgia and I like Tulane tonight. Meanwhile, you like Clemson plus the 2.5. You're going with the Longhorns in the SEC championship game. You're not afraid of laying 2.5 points, and you're not afraid of laying the 3.5 points with Oregon and Penn State. How about that?
Yeah, it's one fight, one agreement, so it should be an interesting weekend. Hopefully we'll both do well. Obviously, one of us is going to lose at least one of them, so see what happens.
Yep, that's right. And then we will take a look at all of these bowl games, and we will be back here making those selections. How about that?
Sounds good.
All right, there it is. Lucas Reimink, I'm Dennis Fithian. Everybody, good luck. Enjoy championship weekend that starts tonight.